Hey everyone, it's Mike Andes. I'm the founder of Augusta Lawn Care with over 150 locations around the world. And today I'm doing a one-on-one coaching call with Morgan.
Spent about 24 years in the Marine Corps, got out, kind of did this.
He has a landscaping business down in South Carolina. He's trying to grow the business and build it to where he can run it passively.
I'm in a rural area, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Am I in a place where I can still grow a business to 800 or above?
His prices are extremely low. He's not taking a paycheck. He has a partner that owns 50% of the business, and together they aren't making any money. If you had to pay yourself for the work that was being done out in the field, the business is not making money. We're going to figure out how to take his business from $300,000 in annual revenue all the way up to $800,000 in annual revenue without spending any money on advertising. I think this is one of the best coaching calls for anyone in the green industry. If you could share with someone else, I'd really appreciate it, especially the last 10 to 20 minutes of this conversation. There's some controversial things I say that I haven't said anywhere else, but I think it'd be extremely helpful if you're trying to grow a business that's profitable. And if right now you're building a business that seems like you just keep beating your head up against the wall. Stay tuned. This is a great coaching call. Take notes, watch it twice, share with someone else, and let's dig in right now. Let's go ahead and jump in. I kind of looked at the site and what you've been up to. So we can just jump right in if you want.
A lot of questions. I spent about 24 years in the Marine Corps, got out, kind of did this, and I was started off by myself, and then I partnered with another friend that was my neighbor. Basically, I was helping him, and I decided to partner, and then we came together, and they were doing it for a while, but it wasn't organized, right? And so what I've done is come in, and we had no money in the bank account, no pricing was off, no structure, no systems at all. And I'm used to systems in general. And so what I've been trying to do, first thing I did was raise prices, right? Which that was a tremendous help. We were able to pay more and do things like that. But what I want to do, this year, I guess we could say we're in profit mode, right? And so I just wanted to stack some cheese in the bank. We up to about, I think we're at 70 grand now, from zero. And so
Good.
now it's like, okay, we need to go into the winter months, right? But I want to take it to 400, above $500,000. Not sure how much I should push next year, but I'm in a rural area, Jacksonville, North Carolina. So I think you have a place up in Fayetteville. And Fayetteville is somewhat similar. There's a Marine Corps base here, so it's a military town. So the income demographics is a little bit different. Like we don't hit recessions don't hit us as hard as other places, right? But people cheap as hell because they're military most of the time, or retirees, and so we can say fixed income, which and so the biggest thing is, am I in a place where I can still grow a business to 800 or above in revenue, right?
Yeah, like it really comes down to kind of what you're trying to optimize for. Like, what size of business are you trying to build? Are you trying to build it as big as possible? Do you want to get past 1 million, or is this like I just want to make as much profit as humanly possible?
I want to go to $1 million. I want to at least be at $1 million, right? $1 million in revenue. That's what my partner talked about. $1 million in revenue. I want to be able to not work. I want passive income, right? I don't mind working until we hit that point. I do a little bit of yard stuff now, but I'm doing the estimate. I handle all money, right? Anything money, if it's behind, or in or and on, when it comes to money. And so I think that's the key. And right, we haven't paid ourselves in 2 years, right? And luckily I'm military, so I don't have to pay myself, right? I make 90 grand a year retired, so I'm pretty okay. But when you cutting grass in July in North Carolina, you wish you had some money in your pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
It feels better. It feels better when you're making money.
yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And so that's what we want, right? And then been kind of looking at some more of your content. You've been hitting, preparing your company to be sold, right? And I can see that happening in the far future, because I don't plan on doing this my whole life. You know what I mean? But really focusing on I think a couple of videos I hit lately where it brought to mind where we were making money. We started making more money, but the problem is it wasn't reoccurring. It was more projects, right? And because the projects are the big money, easy to sell. So we went from making like close to 20,000 to making like last month 37, right? And so, but the reoccurring we didn't hit, and then now I understand like having a reoccurring is also the same thing that's going to take me into the winter,
Yep.
right? Yeah, and being able to sell to them because that's the people that are asking me for brush trimmings and things of that stuff right now, or power washing. You know what I mean? Like they want that extra stuff, but if we don't have them, the other people are not even thinking about it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so the biggest thing is like in this city, can I get that much money, and what does it look like? In some
Yep.
as rural, the county we in is very diverse in this country areas. They big. They got so in the middle is a lot of people. Then it's like these little sales everywhere. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think we need like 200-300 plus clients, and I need them. So that's the key. Like in a rural area, am I able to still grow something like that?
Yeah, totally. A couple quick questions for you, Morgan. The partnership, what percentage do you own of the business now?
50.
Okay, so it's 50-50. And are they aligned in terms of like trying to make this passive, or do they want to stay in the business? What's sort of their goals as well?
He wants to go to $1 million revenue. He wants a bigger, but I'm not sure. Well, no, I'm not sure. I feel he's not prepared to do the work it will take to get us there because he's a retired Marine too, right? And so basically, for us to grow that large, that fast, we got to go back to work for real, for real. Like we can't, ain't no part time, ain't no halfway in, halfway out. We got to grind for like 2-3 years, not make as much money, but we can grow to a size in this area where I think we need multiple trucks just because of how spread out this area is. But yes, to answer your question.
Okay. Okay, cool. Because when you say you want it passive, I actually think that you might not need to get to 1 million. It depends on how fast you want to become passive. The reason I say that is because when you start getting above 6, 7, 8 crew members, finding a general manager that can run that without you is very, very difficult. Because now you need a leader. You need someone that has managed people before, et cetera. And so like my thought process is actually this. You're around that 450 this year, 470. Is that right?
That's next year we're going for. I think we'll hit 3 this year.
Okay, so you're still at 300. Okay.
Yeah.
Because my philosophy, Morgan, is if you can get to 500,000 over the course of a few years, you can simply optimize pricing because you hit capacity, raise prices, and then over the course of those few years, get to 750, 800,000, be very, very profitable, and then be able to afford a general manager because it's kicking off a bunch of profit instead of trying to grow, and then you hit the $1 million marker and you don't have any profits to actually go hire a general manager. And now you've built a business of size enough to where a general manager needs to have extreme leadership skills. They need to be able to manage 12, 15 people. And that's extremely expensive. You're looking at 6-figure, salary for someone that's going to be able to step into a position and know all of the work that you do, selling, hiring, firing, managing a crew in order for this to become passive. And so this is something that even at Augusta, we've become much more clear on is like, I'm a big fan of grow to 500,000. And then once you hit capacity, i.e. you're using all your trucks and all of your employees, you simply raise prices over the course of a few years every single time you hit capacity till you're making 700,000-800,000, but it's kicking off $150,000-$200,000 of profit.
That makes sense.
Because then you have the money to go afford a general manager, and it's easier to find that general manager because you only need 5 to 7 crew members in order to hit that revenue marker.
5 to 7.
Yeah, because think about it like this: if you can grow to 500,000, like right now, is it you and your partner, and 2 employees?
We got so this is me and my partner. That's what I guess we count as one, right? Half and half. Yep. We had 3 guys. And they only usually working 30 hours a week because it was got to a point where it's kind of hard to get people, especially during the summer months. And they stayed on. And then we have one office girl, and she was a part of my partner's business as his girlfriend coming into it. And the only reason she's still around because she helped them build to where we are now. But most stuff I've listed to you, I shouldn't even have her at this point. So.
Well, or you grow into it, right? It sounds like this past year you've been able to stack a little cash away. And I know based upon that number of employees, like things are kind of tight. because you have an office staff, you have two owners, and you have several employees. Like there's a lot of moving parts there for a $300,000 business. And so you could grow it though to 500,000, make sense of having her as an office admin. But then what I would personally recommend, if the goal is making this passive, is to simply over the course of the 3. So I think this is probably a strategy, Morgan, is like 2 years, stay in growth mode. We're trying to grow. Like next year, can we do 400,000? The year after that, can we do 500,000? And that's going to be mostly sales, getting more customers, and growth. Once we hit 500,000 though, we're going to try to actually not hire more people, not buy more trucks. And over the course of 3 years, be able to just simply dial up prices whenever we hit capacity. Because
go ahead.
No, you're fine.
So you say dial up prices, I think we high now. And you know, to make it through the month to cover all bills, and we got to make at least 15 grand, right? And so like some of the, and that's I think why we haven't been able to fill trucks. We tried to fill trucks this year. We didn't have any marketing, right? We had like 230 clients without even marketing, right? And because we've just been around and we do good work. We military mindset, right? Professional looking, all the trucks are wrapped, things of that nature, right? And so there's some where if I looked at the number, because this is one thing I wanted to ask you, is like you say being at $100 a labor hour, and what does that mean? That means for 30 minutes of my time, of my cruise time, that I'm charging $50
per person. So if you correct. So if I'm going to charge when I say $100 per hour, and I don't believe you're there now, and that's fine. I would assume you're probably more in that $60 to $70 per hour per man range. If I was to break down the math, is that right?
So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the math around that. Marines don't do math in public. So what I'm trying to, so we charge, right? If I do it a man hour, say I'm quoting something, a project, it's $93.75 an hour because I know 8 hours of the day, 20 days a month, I'm going to make 15 grand. So I need to make the bottom line, right? And then when I'm obviously estimating I'm trying to get many hours as I can get out of that, right? So our minimum charge is $65 for a yard. That takes 30 minutes or less, right? And so when I do that math, that's $130.
But is that for a crew of 2?
That's for a crew of 2.
Right. So that's putting your hourly range right in that $65 per hour range. Yeah. So for example, Morgan, when you do an estimate for a project, let's do project for a second.
Okay.
And you think, okay, this is going to take me 2 days and it's going to be 2 guys on the job. What's the math you're using now to come up with the pricing on that? Are you multiplying that by an hourly rate? Are you multiplying that by 2 days
so
equals
$2,000?
2
days being 8 hours a day. That's 16 hours. I would take $93.75 and multiply that by 16.
Got it. And that $93.75, is that including 2 people?
No, that's just for the job. Like nobody. It is included 2 people because our minimum crew is always 2. Our business model is always 2 in the truck. Yeah.
So 2 days, 2 crew members is going to, you're looking at $93.75, kind of like what you're targeting per hour with 2 people.
Yes.
Got it. So then right now we're looking at our hourly rate technically is more around that $50 per hour range. And so I know to say, and that's per person. I know to say $100 per hour seems like a lot, but what I believe is if you get to a certain point, like for example, what's your close ratio right now? Do you know, Morgan, like this year, just blended average at half the jobs get accepted?
50, 60%. I was at 60 when I changed the prices, right? I was at 60%. And then as I got like a little bit more cocky, I kind of went down, right? And then as we're rolling in now I'm trying to go, I'm pulling it back again, right? Because we're going, I just want to close, keep work on, because we laid some people off actually yesterday. It was Friday, yesterday. And so we kept one guy, but I can work, the other partner can work, and then the other guy can do when we're busy and try to make some income because our months are November, December, January, February are hard for us. Right. There's no snow here. You know what I mean? And so it's just like trying to find, creating reoccurring things and just doing whatever we can to make money almost.
So last year, Morgan, I know this year we're shooting for 300,000. What was last year's revenue?
210.
Cool.
Total.
So this is what I want to stay focused on is the fact that this year you're going to grow almost 50%. Your close ratio is 50 to 60%. That tells
Correct.
me that you are not at the top of the market. I know you feel like you're expensive, but like what that means to me is you are growing because you're getting a bunch of jobs accepted. When we hit 500,000 in annual revenue, we're gonna actually increase his price to the point where our close ratio drops to more like 25 or 30% because we physically can't take more jobs on. We're at capacity.
I got you.
And so I understand, like right now, it's like, man, we're charging like technically like $50 to $60 maybe per hour per crew. That's all my area can handle. Until you have more jobs coming in and you can't take any more people on because you're at capacity. And so that's what I believe. If you raise, if you get more customers next couple of years, we get to 500,000, and then over a course of a few years, you just keep tweaking your prices higher. I do believe you can get more than $80 to $100 per man hour range. And if you had the same amount of work that you're doing right now, but you were charging that hourly rate, you'd be having a $750,000 business.
Say that part right there again.
If you took your hourly rate, which right now is like around $50 per hour, let's just assume.
Because I'm splitting between two people, so I got you.
Yep. So let's assume it's about $50 per person per hour. If we were able to, in Fairyland, be able to charge $100 per hour, or let's just call it $85, $90 per hour, we would more than double the amount of revenue the business is making without any more customers, any more crew members, any more trucks. And so this is what I really think about, Morgan. Is you have 230 customers. This year, you're going to do $300,000 in annual revenue. Now, what that tells me is you're doing around $1,400 per year per customer. All right. So per customer.
That was the number. That's the exact number, actually. Cool. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I think you can get to 500,000 without getting any new customers. And how you do that is simply get more revenue from from the 230 customers. And so you can make more revenue by either A, raising prices, or B, selling them more services. And so,
services, yeah.
So my thought process is, okay, can I get someone who I'm mowing and I'm only making, $70 twice a month? Therefore, I'm making maybe $1,000 a year on them. Can I somehow get them from 1,000 to 2,000? And how you're going to do that is you really got to grease the wheels of upselling. And so how do I actually make sure that I'm selling every mowing customer winter services? I'm selling them a property cleanup. I'm selling them a mulch install, and creating systems around that will get the average revenue per client from 1,000 or 1,200 past 2,000. That is literally a matter of selling them an extra property cleanup, an extra mulch install, an extra pressure washing. And so greasing that wheel, you could literally have, like, I know companies that doing 800 to 900,000 in annual revenue that have less than 230 customers. But their average revenue per customer is over $2,000, $3,000 because they are so good. Like every single time they go mow the property, they're trying to get the customer to, hey, we saw weeds in your bed. We can get we can do a property cleanup. Oh, we can get mulch in the beds. Okay, we're going to do winter services. And you expand the revenue per year per client.
It makes 1,000% sense. So that would make So either two things, either we haven't done that well, which I know we haven't, because once I start doing it, that's when we start making more money, right? And then two, in that 230, because we're moving from Jobber to LMN, right? Mm-hmm. And because Jobber I can't track my hourly, my labor hours. We can't do chemicals with it. Like it's just so much it cannot do. So we go to LMN, right? And so I'll be able to see exactly out of those 230. How many of those are reoccurring? Because that's really a guesstimate right now, because there's no way to look that up without going in there and, 1, 2, 3. Or we just, I think we have less reoccurring than we believe. And because the money just doesn't, when you look at the numbers, it doesn't make sense. So if I had a 230 reoccurring, my number should be different,
But even if it's 230 total customers, let's just say 150 of those are recurring and then 80 of them are projects. Across the board, I just know you're making around $1,400 per customer per year. Yeah. If you can get that to 2,000, we all of a sudden have a $500,000 business. And again, the goal is we hit 500,000 and then we just start raising prices. Like I believe I believe you with a crew of 5 to 7 in 4 or 5 years after getting to 500,000 growth mode, and then optimizing profitability whenever you get too many customers. Because like I know you have tons of excess demand because you grew by 50% last year, and you have close ratio of 60%. Like I don't believe someone's really actually in profit mode until they're under 30% close ratio. Now that will seem like a lot of people are saying no, and they will because your prices will be significantly higher, but you won't be able to take any more on because you're focusing on recurring revenue to the point where most of your crew's time is just spent doing the recurring jobs. And so you've only got to fill a little bit of time with projects, which means if someone comes to you and wants a project, you're like, hey, look, I'm booked 6 weeks out. I'm charging this higher price.
And so we just got to upsell more, right? And what's
the you could not spend a single dollar in marketing in the next 2 years and get to 500,000 if you just do a better job of upselling your existing customers.
Okay, that's one of the questions because we start doing like EDDMs. And I got to send another one out. We're doing 2 pushes this month, and we were going to do during spring, leading up to spring rush and spring rush. We were going to push door hangers and EDDMs like for 2 months, really, really hard to try to plus up the reoccurring. And should we not do that? Like, I mean, or we still should do it. And
I happen to believe that you will get far more revenue if you texted all of your customers and said, this week only, we're offering 20% off fall cleanups for our existing customers only before we get into the busy season. And it would cost you $0. Like, I don't know about Element. Do they do mass messaging through their platform or not?
You can, yes, I think you can, it goes out, but nothing comes. There's no 2 ways. It's one direction.
Okay. How would you do that? You'd probably just have to say call us, which isn't ideal. Like,
or we can call each one of them.
You could, yeah. It's just going to take a little longer, right? It's going to take more time. I still think that's a better move than sending every door direct mail. I assume you're going to spend $1,000 on postage. So instead of spending
$562, for like 2,500 people.
Yeah, if you spent 2 or 3 days calling all your customers, there you go. Like we really like the text. So we sent it, like, for example, Connor, he's up in Indiana, and he just sent one yesterday for Christmas lights. And here, I'll read it to you, and you can use it if you want, because it's a similar what I just mentioned there. But he did it for Christmas lights, and he got 20 jobs yesterday. He said, here we go. Let me just open this up. Christmas lights. Give me a second here. Sorry. You'll get the recording here, but this language might be helpful. So here it is. So you could do this in email too. But like the mass text really helps. So this is the text he sent out. Hey there, this is, put his name in there. With Augusta Lawn Care Services, I just wanted to reach out and let you know that we offer custom fit to your home holiday light installation and are running a special. I want to give existing customers like yourself a better deal than we do give the public with no strings attached. I want to provide you with a 20% off the top for holiday lighting if you accept your estimate by November 15th. Simply text me back, respond with yes. I will send you a free quote for holiday lighting plus a free digital rendering of what your house will look like with the lights installed. And that was 20 jobs that is going to come from zero marketing expense. And so the vast majority of our leads, once we get to 500,000, we just want it coming from farming our existing customers. We send them emails and we send them text messages in mass and are trying to get them to go from that $1,000 per year to $2,000 or $3,000. That doubles the business without getting new customers.
And what are you spending that money? Are you just stacking, or
what do you mean?
Saving it? Or are you just saving it? Like, so you make it basically, I take my 230 customers, I make them, $2,000 customers per annually. Right. And then that brings me up to 500,000, and I didn't have to do anything for it. So now I'm just stacking the money in the bank. And when I get to the 500,000, I don't have to do anything still, but tweak the price to actually, I guess you got to.
So when demand exceeds supply, that's when you raise price. So supply is like how many jobs you can get done. When you have way more customers, demand is really high. What usually we do is we raise supply. We buy more trucks and we hire more people. What I want you to do when you hit 500,000 is not buy more trucks, not hire more people, and there's still going to be all these customers wanting in. So we raise prices. And some people will leave, but we need them to leave to make space for the people that are new, that are coming in, that are willing to pay the higher price.
So how many trucks should I be running now then? Like what? I mean, we have three, so
Like I've seen, so for example, if you have 3 trucks, that's 6 employees that could be filling those up. I happen to believe you don't need any more trucks to hit 500,000 in annual revenue. In fact, I know that. I know that.
okay.
And so the reason I know that is because if you have 3 trucks and you have 6 employees and we're charging even $60 per hour and they're working 1,500 hours in a year, I can do the math and know you can hit 500,000. And once you hit 500,000, we're not buying more trucks. We're just going to tweak prices whenever we get booked out far and we have all these leads coming in.
So how do I? So I guess let's start the lawns first. Like how do I price that? So if it's 2 people, and let's say just round my number, said $93.75, $100, and $100. So split that in 2. That's $50 a man hour that we're charging for people. Damn. I don't, man, you're right. Cause I'm adventurous as hell, but like I think the reason we ain't closing a lot of these deals is because military people are so cheap. Lord,
yeah,
they use
but
the discounts and all that.
They're also very loyal. And so those 230 customers that love you and you do great work for, if you would just contact them and ask to do more work, they'll take you up on your estimates. And that cost of that lead is 0. Like there is no every door direct mail cost. And furthermore, when you send out this mail campaign, you're going to have to do 20 or 30 estimates for new customers that have never done service for you. I want you to sell to the person that already knows, likes, and trusts you and is going to accept the estimate as soon as it hits their inbox. And so I'd be really encouraging, especially because you and your partner are on these properties every time, do an inspection form. So for example, you can look it up on long-term media and just even copy the template. There's a property inspection. And we have a door hanger, and on there it shows like the 5 different areas there. And I'm going to sell them almost every single time I'm there. We kind of operationalize.
So you keep putting it on there. You just keep putting it on there until they buy it.
You could do it like once a month. So we made it because like door hanger could get a little bit annoying. So we made it inside Copilot where it's more of a text and email. So what the guys do is they can see a list of services that they can upsell a customer. And when they're at the property, oh, they need mulch. They can click on the mulch and immediately it sends the text to the customer saying, hey, the crew is at the property today and they saw that you might need some mulch in the property. If you need it, let us know. We'll get you an estimate by tomorrow. And that can be automated. Now, I don't know if LMN can do that, but with a one-way text, you could do this. Like even if they're at the customer's property, even if they don't have the upsell feature like that, just type it in. Like, hey, it's Morgan with Ospreys, and we want to reach out, and just go that direction. If you text a customer that you've been servicing their property for a year, 2 years, and you say, hey, notice your bushes needed trimmed. We can get that on the schedule next week. Do you want a price? I think your close ratio is going to be 30, 40, 50%, but it's going to cost you 0 in terms of customer acquisition cost.
I'm not going to have to spend $2,000-$3,000 to get there when I could just send an email, save the $2,000-$3,000, and then make $2,000-$3,000.
And furthermore, reduce the admin time of onboarding a new customer. It is far more operationally drag and very expensive operationally to have someone call you from a door hanger, talk to your admin person, the admin person set up a meeting, you go to the customer's house specifically outside of your regular working hours, put together an estimate, send it back to the office sends it to them, all the back and forth, follow-up calls, versus you're on the property and you click a button and ask them if they want the service. And they say, yes. You say, fantastic. The price will be X. Do you want that on the schedule next week?
Yeah. I just started literally probably in the last 60 days, started emailing our current customers once a week. And we did it the other day, and we talked about winterizing, and we got a couple calls from that. Somebody booked a pressure wash this morning from that email. So what you're saying is right on task of where we are. But I didn't know I could still. That's the whole point of the call. I don't know what I don't know. I didn't know I could still get more out of them without going to get more customers. Because my thing was, we need 100 more customers next year. Right. Yeah, I would just
take the same customers and make them twice as much revenue per year and add more value to them. Because if you add more value, think about it like this, Ford's best fans buy the nicest trucks. They don't buy the flat, 8-foot bed single cab. They buy the Lariat, they buy the King Ranch. They're buying the nice stuff. That's the biggest fans. Your biggest fans as customers buy all your upsells. They spend more money with you. And so make raving fans by solving more of their problems. And then down the road, when you raise prices, they won't want to leave. Because now you don't just do their mowing. You trim their bushes, you install their mulch, you pull their weeds, you check their gutters, you do the pressure washing. And every time you're on their property, you're making sure that they're taken care of by seeing what other problems you can solve for them. That person won't leave when you raise prices.
Yeah, because people always say, yeah, you tell me. I mean, you the lawn guy, so what do I need? You know what I mean? So people do say that all the time. Okay, so to answer this question, I got that part. So this is, I guess, 2-part question. Like, could I lower my prices for lawn so I can because I still got to worry about attrition because it's a military town and the turnover is serious here during the summertime actually. And so we have people coming and going. We usually feel it, but I also still want to be having a healthy amount of people kind of fill the trucks to capacity in a sense. Because then I feel better, right? Because basically what I want to do is fill 2 trucks with reoccurring during the season. Me and my partner actually be doing projects, the stuff that we're upselling. We're doing that type of stuff because we don't have to train nobody right now, right? I'm okay with that until we get somebody into that slot. What should I be charging? That's 50. You said, dang. So you basically said I'm charging $50. I thought I was doing better than that, man. Like, and you say 50.
Hey, I started at $30 an hour. 10 years ago, I was at $30 an hour. Now we're at 100 plus. So it's just a matter of hitting capacity. And instead of buying more trucks and getting more and more customers, I just say, no, we're not buying more trucks. Every time we're overbooked, we're going to raise prices.
How are you charging on the lawn? Like, are you charging $100 per man hour then?
Yeah, $100 per hour.
So if you got a 30-minute yard, you got 2 guys on it.
$100.
$100. Okay.
But again, back in the day, that would have been a $30 lawn for me. So the reason we all get in these spirals of price is because every time you get to capacity, you've been buying trucks and hiring more people. If you were forced today to go down to 1 truck and just you mowing, you would have to raise prices in order to be able to cut all customers down to a manageable size.
Correct.
And so now we're going to do the same thing. So next year, we're going to grow another 50% by simply upselling our customers. We're going to get close to that $500,000 marker. And then we're going to stop buying trucks and hiring people. And every time we're overbooked and there's all these leads pouring in, and we're just simply going to raise prices. And some people will leave, but we need them to leave to make room for the leads that are coming in. And furthermore, when it gets slower at certain periods of the year, we're going to now have a source of getting new leads, and that is contacting our existing customers. So for example, we did this thing the other day. It was called the trick or treat deal for Halloween. And it was basically like, hey, look, we're giving this massive discount on winter services. And some people think it's a trick, but really it's a treat because here's why. We want to keep our crew busy during our off season and we don't have to lay them off for the holidays. So we're giving massive discounts on these services. So whenever you get slow, you pitch your existing customers. So for example, it gets slow during the summer. Great. We're going to pitch an email that's going to highlight ripping out people's lawns and putting in rock. And we're going to get 4 or 5 jobs and fill up the schedule for the month. Every single property we go to for mowing, we're going to text them and we're going to tell them, hey, we saw on your property X, Y, and Z. We think we could take care of that. Do you want a quote for it? And we don't actually text them. There's just a button, upsell, and then click whatever service we want.
And when will we know if that's like the clients that we have are not going to be optimal for us? Like, is there a point that you know is like, okay, I'm trying to upsell. I guess you're either not doing it correctly. I'm not, pitching the right deals, trying to find the right deals for them, or I do need people to kind of even it out depending on, I don't know if this matters in area. I mean, you got places all around. Like, does that matter in what area I'm in? Like, will that still work here in Fayetteville, Charlotte? Like, does it matter?
Customers want their problem solved, and you are solving 1 or 2 of their problems, and there are many others on their property. We just are simply not. We honestly, this is in my opinion, Morgan. We don't care enough to solve their problems. Like if we actually boil it down, we're so interested in the next shiny customer and getting more customers. We're not taking care of our current customers to the extent that they could be taken care of. And they are willing to pay you for it. And the reason I know that is because they paid you to solve one problem, mowing, for example. But they have 5 other problems on their property. You could serve them, but it's a matter of caring enough to reach out to them and let them know you can take care of it. And I'm sure there's been times when you're mowing and someone's like trimming the bushes or installing mulch or doing a landscaping project for them, and or doing their gutters or pressure washing. Like, I could be doing that.
Yeah, pressure washing hit me hard when I seen it. This is what we wasn't doing, and I was like, "Wow, the hell!" Because pressure washing is so easy. We only do pressure washing, chemicals, and mowing, right? And so, which is try to stay in those niches. And I saw he pulled up one of our customers, and I saw him across the street, and he had a guy pressure washing. I'm like, we could be doing that.
Yeah, and then they have other problems in their property you could take care of. And so like even when it comes to like pressure washing, I believe that you could do that during the hot of July and August when you're losing mowing customers. So I'm not going to pitch them pressure washing in spring rush when I have tons of mowing leads coming in and the grass is growing like crazy. I'm going to pitch them on text and email during July and August for that service because I know it'll help me fill in the gap of the mowing season.
Yeah.
So I would create a calendar for the whole year of what services do I pitch for every month based upon my climate, based upon what I know I don't have as much work. I'm going to be pitching my mowing services like hardcore during spring rush when everyone wants mowing, and I'm going to focus most of my crew's time and attention on mowing. But then when we go into the summer, I'm going to do projects. I'm going to do pressure washing. When we go into the winter, I'm going to upsell my customers and do fall cleanups and leaf cleanups and winter services.
Okay. So, okay, this is asking me that. We talk about that. When, like, because we're not taking a paycheck right now, right? Because we have the office person. That's probably a big portion of that anyway, because based on what I hear you say is like 400, 500,000 that we can start thinking about a part-time admin person. But we have that person that we need to grow into. When can we start taking like, owner payouts or at this level, owner payouts?
Well, right now, all that money you're spending in marketing is going to go into your pocket. But this comes down to whether or not we actually create a system around upselling to the customer.
Okay.
Like the thousands of dollars you're going to spend on every door direct mail and printing and postage and all the admin time spent on onboarding new customers, that's the money that ends up in your pocket. Because you grow the business to $500,000 from 300,000 to 500,000 without having to get new customers. You just focus on, and you're like, well, what about churn? There is enough leads coming in from just seeing you guys out in the field that will replace churn.
We ain't never did marketing before, and we I mean, you see where we've grown from one truck to no truck to 3 without any marketing ever in the last few years. So I know that is a thing too. And we see you here, we see you there, and bright yellow trucks. Okay. So I got a couple more questions. We got a little bit of time. We gotta go fast.
Good. Go for it.
So we can talk about that. I wanted to think. Let's see that. P for P, man. Let's talk about your baby. Looked into it, did the demo, like it. I understand the concept wholeheartedly. Still nervous on the part of giving them more money, but we did start something like kind of in house before we kind of see if it worked and stuff like that. And we were giving them, no callbacks, not breaking nothing, on time to work, and now we would give them extra $150 bonus, right? And they loved it because when I remember they broke something. He was like, first thing I thought about, I was like, damn, I'm about to lose some money, right? P for P, that's a larger amount, and so does that slow my process to get into the numbers that I want?
Yeah. So right now, what's your base pay, like hourly rate, typically needed for you to get someone in the door? 18, $20 an hour? What is it?
16.
Okay. So your prices are too low for P2P to actually work. And what I mean by that is you don't pass the 25% rule. So the 25% rule is that in order for P2P to work, you want your base pay to be no more than 25% of what you're charging the customer. So at $16 per hour, I need you to be charging in the realm of $65 an hour for P2P to actually start making a difference in the business. Because right now, if you gave a third of your revenue to the employees, they wouldn't be able to get above base pay. And
that makes sense because when I put it in, no numbers came back on the P4P program because the numbers, that makes total sense. Yeah.
So like they're not going to be able to make above 16, 17 bucks an hour. They're definitely not going to make above like 20, 22, which is really what you need them to be able to make for it to be motivating. So I think the more important thing is getting revenue on existing customers. That's going to be your lowest hanging fruit. Then as you raise prices past 60 bucks an hour to the customer, then P4P will start making more sense. Right now, Morgan, the biggest financial band-aid that you have in the business is that you and your partner are working in the business and not taking a paycheck. If you had to pay yourself for the work that was being done out in the field, the business is not making money. It's losing
Wouldn't
money.
be making any money. Yeah.
And so this is why most people will never be able to build a passively ran business, is because you're in the field working, hustling like the most efficient person and not getting paid. That doesn't happen in a passive business. You will have to charge that $80 to $100 per hour rate if they want to make it passive. And everyone's like, oh, that's impossible. My market won't do it. No, 60% of people are accepting your estimates. You grew by 50% last year. That means that you have way more demand than you do have supply. And so I believe over the course of 3 to 5 years, you can get your prices to that level, assuming you don't keep buying more trucks and hiring more people. This is why I'm like, hey, the million marker might not be a good idea, because you're going to keep growing, getting more trucks, more employees, and you're going to build $1 million business that relies on you and your partner working 80 hours a week without paychecks in order to make it work.
So how many employees you saying we need now?
6 tops.
And that's 2 in all 3 trucks.
Correct. And once you hit that and you're like, man, we got all this is going to take, I think next year, you'll probably kind of grow up to capacity. You're probably going to do 400, 450. You're going to focus a ton on upselling. You're going to get to probably that 450 and you're like, man, we need another truck. We need to hire more people. And it's like, oh, wait a second. We're not going to do that. We're going to raise price on all of our customers by 10 bucks a cut, 15 bucks a cut. And I can almost guarantee you, Morgan, the way less people will leave than you think. Adding an extra $10, $15 per cut is literally going to add $5,000 to $8,000 of monthly revenue to your books, and it'll be straight profit.
That's you make this sound so easy.
But here's the thing. That's next year, feeling like you're kind of doing the same thing, except selling more to existing customers. The next year, raising prices. Then the next year, implementing pay for performance. And then 2 more years of raising prices to where you're in that $80 to $100 range. And then 5 years, you afford a general manager that you can work on the business passively. So it seems easy, but I'm just scanning through this very quickly. But this is a 5-year process.
Okay. So I want to just solidify this, because I'm really bad with math. And so I need to get my prices to where, like the minimum for PPP, $65 a man hour. Right now, you saying I'm 50, right? Because
correct.
That's where I'm missing the numbers at. So
you're good.
So 65, and I'm charging $30 an hour. I mean, $65 an hour for 30 minutes. What would that be?
60. So if you're able to hit for 30 minutes, $65 with 2 people, that is $65 per hour. However, that's your minimum. You're not actually charging that amount on like projects and no. Even like other mowing jobs, right? Like you're
93,
just not. Yeah. So let's just assume it's even 100. Like if we average out some of the mowing that are at the minimum, some of the projects, you're still at $45 to $50 per man hour.
That's where, okay, yeah.
And once you get above 60, in my opinion, Morgan, that's when you'll be able to start taking a paycheck. Because right now you're bridging the gap of like that 45 to 50 and 60, where I think you'll actually start making some money. That gap is being bridged by you working crazy hours and not taking a paycheck.
So this might help me more. If I'm charging $65 minimum now for 30 minutes, what will I charge?
I wouldn't worry about your minimum. Like your minimum is pretty good. Right now you're charging $65 per hour if it takes 30 minutes to do your minimum yard. And there's going to be probably some yards that the crew gets done in like 15 or 20 minutes. You're still charging 65. So I'm not looking at that as my hourly rate. What's going to be more accurate is if I take 15 or 20 of your jobs and look at, okay, how long is it actually taking to get this job done? And what is my price? And actually knowing what my hourly rate for mowing is, my hourly rate for projects are. Like right now, the 93 and 75 is a very, very wide estimation based upon the entire month of work. I would be going to your projects, and Element will help you do this a little bit more, like figuring out budget hours. When you do an estimate, it's like, will this job take 16 hours? Great. I'm charging $50 per man hour. Therefore, the labor revenue on this job is $800.
Right.
That's when we have a real hourly rate. Just saying, like, we get projects done over the course of a month for a crew of 2 and make 15 grand or whatever, 93.75. That there's some jobs you're probably making 50 and some jobs you're making 150.
Hope the greater of the two. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I say that because me and on the projects, me and the other owner are all of them, because I can get it done in half the time if it takes that long. So.
And this is the thing, though, when you move into a passive role as an owner, you have to actually make sense of a crew member that will work half as efficiently as you, unless they're on P4P. But even on P4P, they're going to be 20 to 30% less efficient than you because they don't have equity in the business.
Yeah.
And so right now you are bridging this gap with very, very low pricing because you work crazy fast and you're not charging a lot per hour. But the business would not be able to afford that if you were not getting, your personal needs met from the military.
Right. So do I raise prices now or going into next season or?
Nope. The question of when to raise prices is always singularly answered when you hit capacity.
When you hit capacity. So that's it. Okay.
So the focus to getting to capacity. We're not at capacity. That's six people. So you, your partner, and 4 employees in all 3 trucks. When that is done, and we're going to get there pretty quickly. I think we can do it in a year and a half, maybe, by simply upselling our existing customers and getting way more jobs from those existing 230. I think we get to capacity there. And then we raise prices in 2026.
6 people, 3 trucks, basically all trucks working.
Hustling. That's at capacity.
Okay.
That business will do 500,000. And then as you raise your prices from 50, like let's just do the math. Let's raise your prices from 50 to $80 per hour after we hit 500,000 in annual revenue. If you do that over the course of say 3 years, you will go from 500,000 to $800,000 in annual revenue without buying any more trucks or hiring any more people.
Okay. Last couple questions. I talked to Lee before about a year ago about the franchising. Is there a benefit? I mean, I'm looking for franchising. I'm looking for the knowledge, man, because I'm a paralegal by trade, right? So I do a lot of research, and I know that the reason I got this call is because the information you've gotten me has gotten me to this point, right? So how do I become a mastermind group, or what does Augusta Nation have to offer me at this level to continue to grow? Where I don't have to pay for a session if I always have you talking to me, or being able to have regional managers or becoming regional, whatever, all that type of piece. Like, what does that look like?
Like, the benefit, honestly, for you, Morgan, is all the things I'm talking about. Everyone inside of Augusta Nation knows like the back of their hand. We're all doing the exact same thing. We grow our business to 500,000. We optimize for profit. We grow it to 700,000 to 800,000. We put a general manager in place and we go start another location. It's the business model. And at 800,000, I want $200,000 in profit. That's the goal. And I'm only going to be able to do that if I stop growing at 500,000 and optimize for pricing over the course of a few years. That is the model. And that's all we talk about. So when you talk to other owners, what I just told you is going to seem foreign to some people. Like, why would you not want to build $1 million or $2 million business? And I know what $2 million businesses look like, $1 million businesses. And that is 2 owners working 80 hours a week with thin profit margins and never being able to hand it off to a general manager. And so the only benefit is the community of other owners that are doing the exact same thing as you. We're all aligned. We all are very aligned on like what I just read to you is from a WhatsApp group. That message from Connor that he sent out,
yeah.
We're all sharing, like, this is working for me. This is working. We're all using the same stuff. So that's the advantage. But like what I told you is exactly what we do. It's not like it's a new thing. It's you get a whole bunch of people going the same direction. And when you fall down, because it's going to happen, inevitably there's going to come a time when you're like, I don't want to send out this one-click estimate email or send out this text blast. Like, man, I just feel like I'm nagging. Like, you're going to have 150 other people being like, hey, this is what you do. Like, stay in the system. Let's go. Rock and roll. Here's a great template. Let's do this. Like, that's the advantage. But what I'm actually sharing with you now is the roadmap. It's just a community of people that are all pushing you in that direction is the advantage. That's really
I like the team part. Yeah. What is the cost for right now? I know last time I looked, it was way more doable than it I think is raised up. And there was a military thing in there too, or something, if I can
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Yeah, talk to Lee. Like, a lot of our owners are ex-military. Like, you like
Gotcha.
systems, you like community,
Yeah,
you're good at following systems. I know when I say all these things, you're going to listen to again, and you're just going to execute.
that's it.
And you draw in front of, inside the lines. You're used to this the hierarchy of, hey, here's the plan, let's go execute. And so that's why a lot of them are. So like, talk to Lee. We do have a discount for the military, but like, I think you'll be successful either way because of that trait. But you also know the benefit of having a force of people behind you. And that's really the benefit of Augusta Nation. That really is. The information is a commodity. I share it with you. I share it with other people on my videos, but it's the group of people together doing that same thing that makes it feel like you're part of something, you know?
Do you think that regularly talking to you is a benefit, or should I wait 6 months or 3 months, or wait till when should I probably reach out to you again?
I think it's more a matter of like, the plan, long term, like I just gave you like next 5 years, right? And there's always little things like, well, what about this text or whatever? And that's when it's beneficial. Like with the owners, I talk to them every day because they'll have it, hey, this text message or this ad, or that's all helpful. But like, you generally know the plan for the next 5 years. And so there'll be times we want to get bogged down in one little thing. It's like, well, let's just look back at the plan. And so I don't think you need more instruction from me. You know the game plan, right? It's a matter of like, can you stay in the systems? Can you follow that model and actually execute? Because in a year and a half, you're going to be like, oh man, I should buy more trucks. Like that seems very natural for me to do when I have a bunch of work and I have leads coming in. I don't want to raise price. I feel horrible about it. Like that's the thing that as long as you're going to stick to it.
Gotcha. Makes sense, man. I appreciate
It's like,
you, man.
I don't know if you know, I don't know if you know who Alex Hormozy is, but he always says we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. And so like, if you just played this every 3 months to get focused back on what you should be doing, like you just need to be reminded a lot more than you'd be taught about new things or Facebook ads or how do I do tracking on my website. There's all these other little things that we get distracted with. And like what I just said, like that 5-year plan, like sell more to your existing customers, hit capacity, raise prices, hire a general manager. That's the plan.
Oh, okay. I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I know people are listening. Oh, there's one more. Oh, what's that thing? The summit.
Blue collar summit.
There we go. Should I go?
This is the thing. The thing that you will,
man.
I think everyone should go. I'm biased though. The thing that you're going to learn, Morgan, this year that is, I think would be beneficial is how to fill your off season so you don't go down below 15,000 a month in revenue. Like we're going to talk about 5 different like tracks that we use at Augusta to make sure that you actually fill the winter schedule and you keep all your crew busy and you go into spring with plenty of cash. Because as you know, you slow down, you have burn with your admin person, your trucks are being used 1 or 2 times a week. That is extremely inefficient. You'll never make money. It's the worst part about home services, especially landscaping. And so that's the problem we're going to fix. And so if that's a big problem for you, I would come.
Huge. All right. I'll see you there then, brother.
Okay. All right, man. You have a great rest of your weekend. Love you. Take care.
You too. Bye.
You got it. Bye-bye.